Live from Singapore, essential business news as it breaks and a look at the economic news that will shape the day. This is BBC World News and Asia Business Report.
For his views on today's market action, let's cross over now to Sydney. We're joined by Chris Conway from the Australian Stock Report. Chris, great to have you with us on Asia Business Report. As you can see right now, the market falls are not as steep compared to Black Monday. Do you see any signs investors are starting to calm down here?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Yes, most definitely. Investors in Australia are certainly starting to calm down and indeed starting to add some more risk. As we speak, the Aussie market is relative about 160 points from the lows this morning. And if I refresh my screen, we have just turned positive. Financials are rallying. There's some money coming back into the big miners. So yes, it seems that investors have certainly calmed down, and that some bargain hunters are moving back in and starting to bid up the recently beaten down stocks.
There are indeed a lot of oversold shares, particularly in Australia, because these losses have been mounting since last week. But you also have to consider, Chris, that oil prices continue to fall, now below $40 per barrel, and this is affecting sentiment in the Sydney markets.
Yes, most definitely. Look, oil falling so low, so it points to a weak global economy. And of course, a weak global economy means that companies won't make as much money, and of course, their share prices will depreciate. It seems as though there has reached a tipping point, though. Look, I think long-term commodities will still head lower and that the Chinese economy will continue to slow down. It just seems that for right now, investors are willing to add a little bit more risk. And as I said, we're seeing a pretty strong rally this morning.
So, Chris, should we purely blame China for this fallout in the markets?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's not entirely China's fault. I mean, look, the global economy has been sputtering along. You know, Japan is still a bit of a worry. The Eurozone remains, troubled. The US has finally started to show some signs of life, and lo and behold, the Fed wants to raise interest rates, and everyone's concerned about that. So, no, it's not entirely China's fault. It's just that China seems to be the flashpoint because, of course, their economy has been growing so strongly over the last 25 years, and their economy is starting to slow. So that's the flashpoint of everything that's going on right now. But most certainly it's not China's fault. Most certainly not.
Chris Conway from the Australian Stock Report joining us from Sydney. Thank you so much for your